into the future. What happened to you? Check this out. You put everything your team is working on here, who's responsible for what, and track where it all stands here. And whilst your team gets lost in painfully long email threads, my team's communication is super organized and easy to follow because it's connected to our work.
But our team already has a bunch of tools that do this.
Well, with a couple of clicks,
I recently read the book Deep Work by author Cal Newport. Cal defines deep work as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive abilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. J.K. Rowling used deep work to complete the final book of her Harry Potter series, The Deathly Hallows, in 2007. She needed to escape the distraction of screaming kids and barking dogs, so she checked into a suite in a 5-star hotel in downtown Edinburgh, Scotland. She says, "I didn't intend to stay there, but the first day's writing went well, so I kept coming back, and I ended up finishing the last of the Harry Potter books here." Bill Gates used deep work in 1974 to program the first version of BASIC in just 8 weeks. Cal says that Gates worked with such intensity for such lengths during the 2-month stretch that he would often collapse into sleep on his keyboard in the middle of writing a line of code. He would then sleep for an hour or two, wake up, and pick up right where he left off. The basic software that Gates wrote in 8 weeks, while in a state of deep work, became the foundation of a billion-dollar company. Author Cal Newport, an MIT graduate and Georgetown professor, claims that deep work allowed him to double his output of research papers while raising a family, writing this book, and teaching full-time at a prestigious university. The first 2 cases, Gates and J.K. Rowling, might be extreme, as most people don't have the ability to go off the grid and do deep work for weeks at a time. But Cal shows that we can maintain a busy schedule and still find ways to do deep work and produce significant results in our lives that others find hard to replicate. But how exactly does deep work lead to these best-selling books, innovative products, and elite levels of productivity? Well, neuroscientists have found that intense periods of focus in isolated fields of work causes myelin to develop in relevant areas of the brain. Myelin is a white tissue that develops around neurons and allows brain cells to fire faster and cleaner. So in a sense, when we practice deep work, we upgrade our brains and allow specific brain circuits to fire more effortlessly and effectively. The brain upgrade we get from deep work allows you to rapidly connect ideas and uncover creative solutions. In today's economy, the ability to do deep work is increasingly valuable and increasingly rare. It's valuable because when you produce something great in our hyper-connected world, it has the ability to spread to billions of people. Producing something great is necessary to stand out amongst the noise and avoid being forgotten by the flood of information that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Think of your last tweet. How long did it last? How quickly was it forgotten? Deep work is becoming increasingly rare because deep work requires undivided attention, and our world is being filled with more and more tempting distractions, so the ability to do deep work is becoming increasingly difficult. Coworkers expect you to immediately respond to an email or an instant message. Employers want you to function in an open office concept of constant distraction. Your friends and followers online expect you to maintain a social media presence. It's not enough to try to ignore these distractions. We are hardwired to be distracted and pay attention to novelty. In a 2012 study, led by psychologists Wilhelm Hoffman and Roy Baumeister, involving 205 adults, found that we are only able to resist temptations to take a break from work, to check email, surf the web, or watch TV just 50% of the time. But there is hope. You could build a skill of deep work and escape the trap of constant distraction, thus separating you from the pack and making you indispensable in today's economy. Here are 3 deep work strategies that you can incorporate into your schedule to heighten your ability to focus and produce results that are hard to replicate. First, schedule your distraction periods at home and at work. Most of us allow ourselves to go online at any moment and check our phone whenever it buzzes or dings, but doing so is training your brain to avoid deep work. A day full of unscheduled distraction is training your brain to give in to any and all distractions. To build your tolerance to avoid distraction, you need to place boundaries on your distraction. Have a notepad nearby and put down the next distraction break you'll have. Hold your focus until that time. At first it's going to be painful, but remember that doing this is effectively doing the reps that build your ability to concentrate. Second, develop a rhythmic deep work ritual. Cal says the easiest way to consistently start deep effectively doing the reps that build your ability to concentrate. Second, develop a rhythmic deep work ritual. Cal says the easiest way to consistently start deep work session ability to concentrate. Second, develop a rhythmic deep work ritual. Cal says the easiest way to consistently start deep work sessions is to transform them into a simple, regular habit. The goal, in other words, is to generate a rhythm for this work that removes the need for you to invest energy in deciding if and when you're going to go deep. Cal uses several examples in the book to show that scheduling chunks of deep focus in an ad hoc manner doesn't yield much productivity at all. For people who are not seasoned doing deep work, it's best for them to have a reoccurring time each day or each week to go into deep work. Early morning is typically the best time to do this, because at that time, you typically don't have to deal with incoming requests. The research shows that people new to deep work can typically only do it for about 1 hour, and masters of deep work can typically only hold their attention up to 4 hours, in intervals between 60 and 90 minutes throughout the day. So the ultimate goal of each day is to plant deep work rituals throughout the day with the ultimate goal of building up the sum of your deep work practices to 4 hours a day. The third strategy to cultivate deep work in your life is to have a daily shutdown complete ritual. Sleep is the price we need to pay in order to do deep work. It's the interest we pay on the loans of intense focus required to do deep work. To ensure that we get adequate sleep and restore our attentional reserves for the following day, Cal recommends that we incorporate an evening shutdown into our daily routine. An evening shutdown ritual involves making a plan to complete any unfinished tasks, goals, or projects the following day. Getting a series of steps lined out for the following day is enough to get items off your mind. So you can disconnect for the rest of the day. When you get things off your mind, you restore the ability to sleep well and do deep work the following day. After Cal completes his plan for the following day, he will say to himself, "Shutdown complete." It's pretty cheesy, but he says it's a great cue to unplug. In the end, deep work is incredibly valuable because it changes your brain and allows you to produce innovative work that is hard to replicate. That was the core message that I gathered from Cal's great book. Cal does a great job of teaching deep work rituals and reducing the fear of
In this video, you're gonna get some of the best ideas from the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, and then we're gonna talk about how do you actually implement them in your life. Stick around, it's an awesome book. I think you're gonna really enjoy it, so let's do it. Mostly everything meaningful that has ever been created by people has come from some variation of deep work. From masterpieces in art to scientific breakthroughs, billion-dollar products, and everything in between has come as a result of someone's intense concentration on that single piece of work. But what really is deep work? The author defines it as professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skills, and are hard to replicate. Bill Gates used a variation of deep work to create the basics of what later became a multi-billion-dollar company that we now know as Microsoft. And J.K. Rowling used her own version to finish one of the latest Harry Potter books. And even Beyoncé has made use of its power to create award-winning singles adored by millions of fans. In other words, deep work is the superpower of the 21st century. At a time when every one of us is constantly bombarded by emails, meeting requests, tight deadlines, and requests from bosses and coworkers, the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task can be seemingly impossible. And that is just your professional life. Add to that an ever-expanding circle of entertainment options and the constant grip of social media networks on your personal life, and you have a focus epidemic. So how can you incorporate deep work into your life instead of suffering from a shallow work frenzy? It all starts by having the basic understanding of how deep work affects your brain. By focusing intensely on a specific skill, you're forcing the relevant circuit in your brain to fire again and again and again. And this repetitive use triggers cells to wrap layers of myelin around the neurons, effectively cementing that skill. Think of it as going to the gym, but for your brain. Just like every intensive workout helps make your specific muscle stronger, every period of deep work makes your brain stronger. Let's create the ultimate workout for your brain in just 4 simple steps. Step 1 is identify what is actually deep work in your case. You cannot do deep work if you don't know what that is. Take the time to figure out what type of activity will produce the absolute best stuff that you're capable of. Keep in mind that you are the only one who can judge what activity that is for you. Email, for example, tends to get a bad rep across the board. But if you're a marketing copywriter who designs email funnels, for example, the inbox is where your bread and butter is made. Decide what deep work is for yourself. Don't be influenced by what is generally accepted or not accepted. Only you know what deep work means for you. Step number 2, make deep work a ritual. Instead of having random periods of potential deep work, schedule regular blocks of deep work every single day. By removing the unknown timing and by not relying on willpower to get started, you're setting yourself up for success. A novice in the art of focus and concentration, make deep work a ritual. Instead of having random periods of potential deep work, schedule regular blocks of deep work every single day. Deep work a ritual. Instead of having random periods of potential deep work, schedule regular blocks of deep work every single day. By removing the unknown timing and by not relying on willpower to get started, you're setting yourself up for success. A novice in the art of focus and concentration might find it hard to produce more than 30 minutes of deep work at first, but as with most things in life, it gets easier the more you practice. According to Newport, one can extend deep work up to 4 hours per day with the help of regular practice. Step number 3, eliminate distractions. It goes without saying that deep focus requires 0 distractions. So start by choosing a workspace that is dedicated to deep work. Put your phone away, disconnect your computer from the internet if you don't need it, and remove noise, thirst, hunger, and potentially other people from the equation. In the same manner, try to eliminate, minimize, or at the very least, bulk the minion work together and leave it for the end of the day. The author calls this shut. In the same manner, try to eliminate, minimize, or at the very least, bulk the minion work together and leave it for the end of the day. The author calls this shallow. Work. You might call it email, social media, or meetings. Treat all those as a form of distraction and leave it for when your deep work has been finished. And finally, step number 4, have a shutdown routine. Decide on a hard work cutoff time. No work, deep or shallow, is to be done past this point. This will allow you enough time to relax and recharge for the next day. Because let's face it, if you're tired, you cannot be productive the following day. So you need to allow yourself enough time to recharge and actually sleep. Create a work shutdown routine for yourself. That might involve checking your messages one last time to make sure there's nothing urgent, making a plan for the following day, or reviewing your work. Whatever it is, get it done and say to yourself, shut down, complete. And of course, you can come up with a phrase of your own. This is just the one Newport uses. And it sounds cheesy, but saying it out loud helps your brain disconnect from the work and it provides you with closure. So come up with a phrase of your own or just use shut down, complete, say it out loud, and that signifies the end of your workday. And there you have it, the 4 steps to becoming a deep work master. It takes practice, it takes dedication, but you owe it to yourself to put it to use. Focus on the wildly important, cut out shallow work and distractions from your life, and treat your work like a craft. If you hone your abilities and apply them with respect and care, then you can generate enormous meaning in the daily efforts of your professional life. In other words, you can become a real-life 21st century superhero. Hey, welcome back. So, deep work is one of those concepts that's it's simple to understand, it's no distractions, it's trying to put all your effort into a single task. But once you start to implement it or try to implement it, it becomes a little more challenging. So, here's how I suggest you go about it. First, step number 1 goes without saying, eliminate all distractions. Put your phone away, put your computer away, you know what distractions are in your case. And step number 2, get a timer or use your phone, whatever it might be, and set it for 20 minutes. The goal is 20 minutes, you're gonna put all your mental capacity into a single task. And if you've never done it before, 20 minutes might seem long. It might be 5 minutes in the process, you're like, oh my god, it's just like I'll be here for 60 minutes, and then you look at the timer and it's fine. But the more you practice, the better it's gonna get. In 20 minutes, it could be short, it could be long, depending on your experience level, but 20 minutes is achievable. So start from there. Get good with 20 minutes of concentrating everything on a single task, then move it to 30, or 25, or 35, or 40, whatever it might be, but start from 20 and move the way up. Because as Cal Newport says in the book, you can go for up to 4 hours. But chances are, trying to go from 5 minutes at a time to 4 hours might be too much, and you might set yourself up for failure. So start 20 minutes, get comfortable with that, get good at it. Once you feel that 20 minutes is nothing for you, move it up to 25, 30, 35, 50. And over time, one, you're going to figure out what works best for you, so you're actually productive and not exhausted. And two, you're going to practice and become better at the art of deep work. And it's a phenomenal concept. It works rather well, but it takes practice. So start with eliminating distractions, 20 minutes, and then you'll see how it just blows your productivity out of the water. And if you want more videos such as this one, reviewing some of the best books in productivity and self-help and motivation, click on the subscribe button below and join the family. There's 2 new videos coming out each and every week in which I review the books and then give you the best ideas and most of all, how to implement it. Join the family, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Have an amazing day. Now go practice some deep work.
فأنا بعض الأحيان يجيز يومين 3 أيام من دون أكل فأنا أضطر أعطيها سكر أو موية تحاول تهتم.
All right, good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk about career advice, my topic. I want to push back a little bit on some of the ideas that we assume are true, don't question much anymore. And I'm going to try to replace them with some ideas that I think the evidence actually supports better. And I figured being at Google, the right place to start would be saying controversial things about Steve Jobs. So I think that's a good place for us to get going. So in particular, I want to talk about the early summer of 2005, when Steve Jobs took the podium at Stanford Stadium to give his, I recognize someone down there, Chris, please help. All right, there we go. You remember those ages. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get distracted with Chris Boyd. So let's go back to summer of 2005. Steve Jobs takes the podium at Stanford Stadium. He's there to give a commencement address to the graduating class at Stanford.